Yo, good morning, my people. Top of the top. It is Tuesday, August 26th. And I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because with him, all things is possible. Salute to all my kings and queens, boys and girls, children of all ages. Happy Tuesday to everybody out there traveling. All my back to school kids, please arrive there safe. No cutting class, no cutting school. We in the beginning of the year for some of you guys from out of town that's back in school already. For any parents that has to take your kids to school and possibly have to go to work yourself, or you just coming home for work and you got to take them to school, please get there safe as you're taking them, because anything can happen on your way there and on your way back. So I pray that you guys arrive where you're going safe, and anybody else that's trying to get to where they're going, uh, arrive there safe. I hope everybody's feeling blessed, appreciated, and thankful for seeing another day, and knowing with him all things is possible. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Tuesdays is usually Taco Tuesday. It could be any kind of Tuesday. It could be what you want to be. But happy Tuesday to all y'all. I was supposed to have been on the other YouTube, and I said, let me go and stream. I didn't want to use all my streams up, but I am taking it. I am taking advantage of trying to get in much work. And I told y'all this week was supposed to be a week that y'all might not see me like that, but shit, things happen. Things happen. So, we're gonna do what we usually do. Our chop ups, nothing stop us. The views don't stop us. Nothing stop us. We got work to do, so let's do it. So for my newcomers, my regulars, everyone, welcome to the No Duck Zone podcast. Let's go. Please, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we get it popping over here. D Free, what's up, man? BC, I see you. Jeff Spark, I see you. What's up, my brothers? BC, I gotta call you. Um, I have to call you and D Free. I called Jeff yesterday to talk to him about something. So I'm gonna at some point talk to you guys offline about it. It's not an online conversation, it's actually an offline conversation. So I'm gonna reach out to y'all today, probably later on when you guys are not busy. Free,
Yo,
my man D Free.
hold on 1 second. Can you
I
hear me?
want to get into today, y'all, about do y'all
There's plenty of boys that are like you and you're crazy.
Hey, my man Big Dream, what's up, man? Hi, Dream.
Okay, okay.
Hi, buddy.
But
I
what
miss
can I say?
you.
I get it from my mom.
Hey, man, I love you, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you, man. Okay, buddy? Be good.
I see, but why?
All
Because I
right.
thought sentimental moment.
Yeah, my man Big Dream in the building, man. So, I want to talk to y'all about y'all remember y'all first day back to school. What was your first day back to school like, and what is the difference between back to school then and now? So that's the question for the chat. That's the question for everybody who's watching. Yeah, Free was Free. Did you hear what I asked?
Uh,
Oh yeah, yeah. Big Dream's my dude, man. I miss that guy, man. I gotta see my Big Dream next year. He said his little diesel had. Yeah, he diesel. Big Dream diesels. I don't know what. That's crazy. That kid should be diesel like that.
That nigga do push-ups every day.
That kid diesel. That's ridiculous, man. Like look like he on baby. Like he just fresh off of baby Rikers.
Yeah.
Crazy. My man out here flexing. He got me ready to do something. I gotta step my game up. He said he had a 6 pack. Yeah, he got a 6 pack. Yeah, man. So yeah, back to school. We had a lot of great memories of every time we went back to school. Um, for y'all, for the chat, for everybody. Um, what was back to school like for you guys? What was your best memories about back to school, and what's the difference with back to school today? Because I know there's a big difference. It's a whole different generation. These kids move totally different. Um, so free, if you can remember, um, in your time, and anybody can answer this, what was back to school like for you coming up?
No, that was a fun time because you got a chance. You was getting a chance to see the friends that you didn't see all summer because they might lived in another neighborhood or across town or whatever, so you didn't see them on a regular basis. But it was also a time where you could show off your new clothes and stuff like that. So when I was going back to school, when I was much younger, not high school or anything like that, but in elementary, that's when y'all all meet up either on the blacktop for recess, or you outside of the school, or you all meet up in the gym and line up to find out what class you got or whatever have you. You would get the chance to find out which one of your friends is going to be in your class for the year. So I mean that was the most exciting part of back to school because for me school was fun. I didn't have a problem with school. Like a lot of people I knew didn't like school or whatever. They didn't like waking up in the morning. They didn't like having to do the work. But me, I always had fun in school.
Mm, yeah, homeroom was crazy wild. Jesper said walking with both parents, new clothes, new sneakers. Yeah, yeah, I did 750 push-ups every day for 8. Yeah, why? Yeah, I think for me, oh, he said Transformers thing, Lunchbox. Yeah, 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 yeah. For me, it was always getting ready to put on that fresh outfit. It also was too me missing my friends I didn't see because, like you said, some friends. If you notice, free, a lot of our friends got sent down south. If you ever noticed that for the summer, like you wouldn't see them, right? And you'd be like, "Yo, anybody see Chris?" Man, they sent him down south for the summer. Chris come back, he come back crispy as hell. And I don't mean with no outfit. I mean he black as shit. But you were right though. You would miss your friends because you ain't seen them all summer. And you knew when it was time to go school shopping for the people who could afford it. You came back with a fresh pair of kicks, rather they would have been some uptowns, some Jordans. You got a fresh haircut, and then free, you got that one girl that you've been waiting to see. You know, everybody got that one girl they've been waiting to see.
Yeah.
So it was always exciting. She said first 15 years of life had to go to Georgia every summer because yeah, I got sent LB, what's up? I got sent down south. I got sent down south a lot, but then I stopped liking it. So I was like, nah, I'm spending my summer in New York. I'm not doing that. My mom sent me to the Bronx for the summer. Well, damn, that ain't much of a summer vacation. She sent you to the Bronx. Sheesh. Sheesh. You might as well spend your summer in Brooklyn.
Well,
Yeah.
summer for me was a lot of vacations with the family. We would go to different places, whether it's Myrtle Beach, whether it's Disneyland, Virginia Beach, or something like that. We was always going somewhere like every other weekend or every weekend.
Why is it free? And I'm not speaking for all parents. And before we continue with this conversation, I'm not speaking for all parents, but majority of them. We see more parents just sending their kids away versus taking them somewhere. It's like a lot of parents today are just trying to throw them away and get them out they face. Like, man, I don't give a damn what you do for the summer. but I'm not about to deal with you this summer. Like, I don't give a damn what he do. He can go stay with his father, go with his grandmama. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of them you see just trying to get them about their way versus spending time with them. Even though as parents we need breaks, but a lot of them I see they just trying to throw them away.
Uh, well, for a lot of them, it's a summer vacation for parents too, because they have to deal with the kids, whether they're single parents or they're dual parenting in the home. A lot of them had to deal with the kids all school year, and they was like, well, this is a time that we can actually send you to summer camp, or we can send you to one of your relatives' house, and we can get a break as well. So a lot of times it's a summer vacation, not just for the kids, but for the parents too.
Oh, hold on, I'll wait for you to come back. Yeah, so we on the topic of talking about back to school and the difference between back to school then versus now. It's a big difference, y'all. And we were talking about how a lot of parents are quick to get rid of their kids. Free made a great point, especially as a single parent. You need some time to yourself. And that's why it's important that we keep the households together where the mother and father stays in.
And you got to remember too, a lot of parents might be struggling, so sending their kids to school every day was a way for their kids to eat, and the parents didn't have to worry about coming up with money and making sure there's enough food in the house. So now that they're home for the summer, they got to feed them 3 times a day or 2 times a day or whatever. So they send them to a relative where they ain't got to worry about spending money on the kids. They could try to save up so they can get their kids new clothes and stuff for school and get all their school supplies and stuff like that. So it all depends on the situation.
Yeah. What would you say, and you, everybody in the chat, what would y'all say? What's the difference between, and you free answer this, everybody answer this. What's the difference between going to school back then and today, and how the parents were back then versus how the parents are today?
Um, for me, going to school now for the kids that I see, um, it's a little more. You gotta be on guard because nowadays these kids that built up so many beefs uh, with other neighborhoods and other kids and things like that. Now they going to school and they got to be right in the same building with the same neighborhoods or the same kids they built beef up. So now they got to be on guard a lot more. So it's a little more dangerous now going to school than it was when I was going to school. Actually, when I was going to school, that was the safe haven. You got away from all the trouble of the streets by going to school in my neighborhood. I know some neighborhoods you still had that same trouble in the schools or whatever, but in my neighborhood, because I didn't go to those schools in the projects, all my schools was in the suburbs. It was a safe haven to get away from the trouble of the streets. So now I look at it as a lot of the suburb areas have the same problems that the urban areas have and the city life have. They got a lot of these kids get pushed out of the city and they move to the suburbs, and so they bring that street mentality to the suburbs. So a lot of these kids deal with the same stuff that the kids deal with in the city.
Yeah. Um, for all you guys that are parents that's in here and everybody that's watching, and you, D Free, how did you, even though you didn't grow up where your life was peaches and cream, and of course you went through stuff, but you also knew how to avoid stuff. When it was time for you to actually have kids, and it was time for them to take off and go to school, and they're reaching the fifth grade, the eighth grade, they reaching them grades where it's time for them to go on to the next grade. How did you prepare yourself for all that? How did you make sure that they didn't make the mistakes that you made? Because kids are not going to be perfect, and they're not going to turn out to be exactly like you. How did, as a father, as a parent, how did you prepare yourself for that? What were some of the things that you schooled them on?
That came with Um, the the fear of getting your ass whooped.
Come on, free.
Nah, I'm dead serious. My kids knew you messed up in school, you was gonna get your ass whooped. So they regardless of how we feel about certain things, my kids never really messed up in school. Like they might have came home with bad grades here and there, but far as getting suspended or putting in discipline, I think I only had to deal with that one time out of my all of my kids being in school. I think I only had to deal with that one time, and it wasn't really anything that my son done during school time that got him in trouble. It was the after school activity. He got caught doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing, and he got in trouble. And I mean, he still got punished for it, but it wasn't something that caused him to get suspended from school or anything like that.
Yeah. Because sometimes as parents we tend to forget that we were kids too, and we did certain things. So it's like, okay, I got to remember I was a child too once, but it's just that some of these things that these kids do today is totally different. When you like, man, I was never thinking about doing that when I was a child. What the hell is wrong with you kids today? It's totally a big difference in what you see. And like I said, for me, my best times in school was coming in with the fresh gear, the fresh haircut. I loved it. It was something I always looked forward to, especially when I got to high school, because my dressing game started to get crazy, and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely can't wait to get to school. But question for everybody that's out there, and LB just said something, and Coco Tina, I just read what she said. What's best nowadays? And nowadays, today, going to school versus homeschooling. Which one do y'all prefer? Because if you got to work from at home and your child is at home, there's times you might not even want to look at them and you like, God damn it. I wish this dude was in school. So going to school versus homeschooling. Which one do y'all prefer? You had to be fresh every day or be a
Um, for me, it all depends on the situation. Like I got my last two kids that's in school. I got my twins. They do both. One go to school full time. The other one is homeschooled. But fortunate enough, my twins, one of my twins is living with my mother while she go to school, and the other one is living with my sister while she's homeschooled. So I don't really have to deal with it, but it all depends on the circumstances. Like, um, is good if you have um, a situation where the school is in a bad neighborhood or your kids got to deal with bullying or deal with the fact of there's beef between neighborhoods and your
yeah,
kids
yeah,
are caught up
yeah,
in the middle of
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of times homeschool might be a solution where you don't have to worry about your kid getting caught up in that because even though your kid live in a neighborhood like I have my youngest stepson, he got caught up in a situation where he didn't get caught up. They try to put him in a situation where there was a beef with another neighborhood and we had moved to a neighborhood and they were like, hey, ain't you friends with such and such or ain't you from such and such? We're like, what? Like, no, regardless of who he's friends with and what neighborhood he moved from, he ain't never that type of dude. He goes to
yeah.
school. All he worry about is playing basketball. So they try to get him caught up in that, but it fortunate enough, they they didn't come at him like that. But they try to. But
Um, I think you made a great point about that. Um, and even back in my time, I don't know how popular homeschooling was, but um, I know a few people who was just on some. They didn't want to come to school for those same particular reasons you just said, neighborhood beefs. Um, they didn't have the appropriate clothes to come to school because their parents didn't have it like that. They wasn't educated enough. They felt ashamed about what they were and where they came from. And like you said, the gang violence, man. And today is even got worse today
Yep.
because now it just doesn't matter. People are looking to making a lot of these kids are just making they looking to making an example uh, out of you. You know, it's totally different from when I was coming up. It's crazy what I'm about to say. It made more sense when I was coming up versus today because now it's just a whole bunch of BS. But um, when I look at the school system and I start looking how these kids, if you notice, free and everybody that's in the chat, if y'all notice, I don't care what state you live in or where you from, y'all notice these kids get out more today than we did. Y'all notice they got way more time off than we did, and you be like, wait a minute, whoa, 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 whoa. How many fucking half a days can you get in 1 month? How many? Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. So wait a minute, this week is what holiday? And you be like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, what? Like,
Yeah, yeah. When I was in school, it was only President's Day, Columbus Day, um, Labor Day, Memorial Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving,
yeah,
and then we'll have that Monday off for Martin Luther King, but that was it. Now these niggas be like, uh, this is a what was it? What my kid said the other day? The they said they wasn't in school because they was having administration day, or they had to do they I guess they was having something about the teachers was doing something. I was like, so the kids got to take off because the teachers got something going on? They could do that
yeah.
after school.
Listen, this is what I think, and this is just my opinion, and I could be wrong, free, because they always say teachers are not making much and this and that and third. I'm like, I started because me and Tiff was talking about this shit. We talked about this for the last 2 3 years because where we live at in Harlem, and you seen there's so many schools around us, and every time we look up during school hours, it'd be 10, 11, 12 o'clock, and these teachers are taking these kids on a field trip, and it's cool, right? But then we look it up like, how many field trips can they go in? How many field trips can you take a kid on in 1 week? I'm like, either y'all are less interested in teaching, or because you figure these kids don't really want to learn anything, so we can give them as much half a days as we want or take them on much trip. A lot of them don't care about learning. But what about the ones who are interested in learning? School starts Wednesday over here, Rhode Island, and day off Thursday. That make no sense. If there's ever a time where school starts on a Friday, like I remember one time school started on a Friday here in New York, and my pops was like, "That was stupid. I'm not making you go to school on Friday when you're gonna have off the next day." And even though it was the first day, and I wanted to see my peoples, I said, "Shit, I can just go to the park and see y'all. I'll wait till I'm not. That don't make no sense.
Right,
Don't make
right.
no sense."
No, it
But
don't make no
but
sense at all.
but it ain't made. And my pops, I remember he was like, "You're not going to school." He was like, "Unless you want to, unless you want to." And I had to think about it, and I was like, "Who the hell does a back to school Friday? I'm not doing that." I thought about it, and at that time, I had the Super Nintendo and shit. He was just like, "Man, you
Now,
either can
see,
go to
like
the park,
we
go to the park and
we
play,
had
or
back
play the video game."
we had back to school night where they would have like it was like a meeting for the parents, and then they would give. I mean, the kids that did attend that back to school meeting or that back to school night, the kids that did attend, they would give out school supplies to those kids that attended. But
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of kids didn't attend, so they didn't have to give out a lot. But if you did attend, you got pretty much everything you needed for when you started school, because they
yeah,
gave you all of the school supplies for back to school night.
yeah. Yeah. Um, when you sit and like I said, you're not thinking about it as you're a kid, but as you get older, and you get much older, you start looking and seeing. You be like, man, this you kid, like I hate to say it, you kids got it easy today, boy. Because I'm telling you, some of the shit that y'all can get away with is crazy. Because we didn't get all these holidays. Y'all be getting about 3 or 4 half a days in 1 month. It'd be crazy free. Every time you turn around, half a day, half a day, half a day, half a day. I said, well, shit, that's why y'all half learning. That's why you're half learning. Like how you get 4 half a days in 1 month? Like this should just be crazy to me. I don't get that. But hey, times are definitely different. Oh, I read that comment already. Times are definitely different. Hold on, y'all. Okay. So I look at it free and I be like, and you know what? Sometimes you don't want to take your child's word for it. So you be like, you know what? If I got to go up to the school and I find out that you're lying, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Cause it ain't no way in the world you gonna keep coming home telling me you ain't got no homework, or you keep having all these half a days. So if I
Yeah.
find out you're lying, I'm gonna whoop your ass. But then you go up there and you find out the truth, and you like, well, why are y'all giving so many half a days? Why is it that he ain't got no homework? He and she ain't got no damn homework. See, this is why I'm about to take my child out and have him homeschool.
Like my kids never had no homework days. The teacher might have said they didn't have any homework, but my kids was always doing something. Whether you had to read a book that for an hour or for 30 minutes after you got home from school, or you went over some math problems, or you went over whatever you was having trouble in school, you did some practice on that if you had no homework. And then if it was multiple days where the teacher kept saying you didn't have no homework, then that's when I go and talk to the teacher. I'm like, hey, what's going on with my kids not having any homework?
What was there ever? What I know you said one of your kids is homeschooled, right?
Hmm.
What what made you make that decision? I don't know if it was between you or moms, but what made y'all
Well,
make that decision? Was it something that you saw in the school system that you didn't like that made you say, you know what? I no, we need to come up with a different plan because obviously she's not focusing. There's something going on, and I think this would just be a better decision for her.
no, actually, they started homeschool because of the COVID-19.
Oh,
So
okay.
when they that's when they started, and then my youngest twin, she said she wanted to go back to public school, and the oldest twin said, "No, I just want to stay homeschool." So I was like, "Okay." So I put the youngest twin back in public schools, and the oldest twin, she still get homeschool. But the oldest twin seen how good her younger sister was doing, and now she wants to go back to public school. So I said, okay, well, we're gonna put you back in public school, but we gotta get some stuff taken care of first, so we can put you back in public school. Because I have to now send her over to my mother's house so she can go to school with her sister, because I can't have two kids and their sisters and they going to different schools in different counties. They were like, hold on, how you using this address and then you using
Yeah,
this
yeah,
address
yeah,
over
yeah,
here? So, and they
yeah,
was staying with my mother when my stepfather had passed. They were staying with my mother because my mother wanted the company, but they was a little too rowdy with my mother, and they had my mother is a very clean and neat person, and they
yeah,
they had messed up a couple of things, and my mother was like, hold up, nope, I can't do both of them. They're a little too wild. And so
yeah,
we had split them up. And so now I gotta make sure things is in order, and make sure that they understand, look, whatever my mother tells you, this is what you got to do. It ain't
oh
no,
yeah,
oh, she just picking on me or whatever. That's your grandmother. You're not gonna disrespect my mother at all, let alone your grandmother.
yes,
So
yeah.
it's
That's
just it's
fine.
just a a situation where things just got to get in order, and then once they get in order, then we'll put her back in home. I mean, back in public school. But nah, it wasn't like my kids never been bad in school. Like all my kids have always been honor roll because me and their mother never played that. But see, when me and their mother split, their mother got a little relaxed because she only had the twins. She still didn't play far as their school, but it wasn't to the level of what it was before. Like when we was together, my job was to work and she stayed home with the kids. Um, and that was her choice to stay home with the kids, even though I said, "Hey, look, we got 5 kids. I need some help." She wanted to stay home because she didn't want to put them in daycare and things like that. So,
Yeah,
um, she was always on top of them, far as schoolwork, making sure they learn. Like my oldest son, he knew in kindergarten, he knew everybody's phone number by heart. He knew everybody's address, and he knew his ABCs, and he knew how to count to 100 by the age of 5. He knew all that. So when he got in kindergarten, they actually put him in tag program. They wanted to move him up to the first grade, but we said no, we're not moving him up to the first grade. So they put him in a tag program, which is talented and gifted kids. So they put him in that because he was extra smart. He was smarter than most of the kids in the class because he would tell the teacher. The teacher was sitting there asking him questions. He was like, "I already know this," and she was like, "But you got to participate." He said, "But I already know." And so the teacher was like, she had a meeting with her. She was like, "Look, I can't. I don't want to punish him because he already knows it, but he got to understand that he got to participate." I said, "Well, my son is the type, if it's not something that's interesting to him, he's going to get bored. So if he already knows it, he's not going to be interested in it because he already knows it." So she's sitting there trying to teach him the ABCs and all that. He said, "I already know my ABCs." She's like, "Well, I'm trying to teach you a number." He said, "I already know how to count. I can count to 100." So I was like, so that's when they decided to put him in a tag program, and so he was getting in classes with more advanced classes.
yeah. When we look at the school system, right, we can point this finger at the teachers and the principals and the kids. Um, but sometimes when you look at the parents, a lot of stuff that happens in here, and the reason why these kids are being taught the way they are or being treated the way they are, is that sometimes there's not enough participation from the parents. What I mean by that is, um, a lot of times you have these parents teacher conference. These parents are a no show. When a teacher's asking for a parent to come in because of their child misbehaving or the grades are dropping, or they notice something different about the child, and some, not all parents, some parents seem to avoid that. Um, are we at a time where some parents are just so caught up in what they got going on that I don't want to say they tend to not care, but they're just like, yo, I'll get to it when I get to it, or I'll have a talk with him or her when they get home.
Yeah,
And if a child sees that you're not paying attention to him as a parent, not as a teacher, because teachers are parents too, but they're teachers. And sometimes a child will act out because of the attention that he or she is not getting. Not all the time. They're bad kids and they just caught up in gangs and all that. And a lot of them just need that attention. Um, they need somebody to just to talk to, somebody somebody to care for them. So when we see stuff like that, um, before we could judge them and be like they're just a bunch of badass kids, a lot of times it's not the case. But we do need more parents to participate.
yeah, um,
Because
yeah, and a lot of times, what a lot of people have to remember, when it comes to these kids, is the parents do have a lot on their table. Um, especially if you don't really get a chance to understand what's going on in the household. And because remember back in the days when we was coming up and a kid was having issues in school or whatever have you, the teacher would come visit the home and have a parent teacher conference at the home to find out what's going on in the home. They
Yeah,
don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore to find out what's going on in the home because a lot of times it's not so much the parents are not doing what they're doing or the kids are bad. A lot of times it's just the parents don't have the they don't have the help that they need. And so it might be a one parent household and they're doing the best that they can. A lot of times the teachers are just like some of these young kids now. They only doing enough to get a paycheck. They're not going above and beyond. You have some that still do, but a lot
yeah,
of these teachers they only going to work for those 8 hours that they gotta be at work, and then they gone home. They don't care what goes on with these kids after school is over with.
yeah. Um, yeah, you don't want to be harsh and be like, yeah, some, your parents don't care. But I look at some of them, and then because I look at Tiff, and she works in the school system, and some of the stories she's had, and some of the things I've experienced and seen, and I go, damn, what's up with these parents, man? You know what I mean? From the way a kid looks when he comes to school and how he's dressed and what he's going through, and I just go, man, damn. And like you said, you don't want to be judgmental because at home, a lot of these parents are single parents. But also, free, that's why it's important that we keep the fathers. And not saying kids are going to turn out perfect, but this is why, free, we must keep fathers in the household. Fathers like you, that who's not only a father, but a grandfather. This is why it's important. And once again, that don't mean the child is going to come out perfect, but it does play some kind of role when you do have the pops in it because whatever the mother can't control or can't do, us as men, rather his daughters or sons, especially the sons, we're not gonna play with you. But the mothers, they just go
Mm,
like, all right, whatever, like, all right, yeah, whatever, ma. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to me, ma? Because taking the belt off and
yeah.
trying to whoop me at 15, 16 ain't gonna do shit to me. But then they get intimidated when they go, I'm gonna call your father. Oh
I mean,
shit.
yeah. I mean, like it got they gotta instill in the kids because the parents is there, but if they don't instill those morals and those values in the kids, it ain't gonna matter if both the parents are in the household or not. But see, the thing is, like you said, it doesn't mean that the kid is gonna turn out perfect. What it
Yeah,
means is when a kid gets finished being being himself, having time to himself and learning how to grow, he's going to remember the morals and the values that and he's going to have those morals and values once he gets of the mindset, okay, um it's time out for all the playing in the games. Now life is kicking in. He's going to remember, okay, yeah, my father and my mother told me if I do this, this is what's
yeah,
going to happen, and if I
yes,
do that, this is what's going to happen. Or I got to go to work every day in order to make sure my bills is being paid. If you don't
yes,
instill that in your kids, they never going to know that. They
no,
never going
no,
to know that they gotta take care of themselves and they gotta do things the right way. The way people learn that is being taught that. The same way people being taught how to be a street thug, that nobody turns out a street thug. They taught to be a street thug. The same
yeah,
way
yeah,
a person is taught to be a upstanding citizen. Nobody turns out and become an upstanding citizen. They are taught to be an upstanding citizen.
yeah,
So
yeah.
everything is being taught and being learned.
Yeah, because anytime somebody will tell you, I was born to be a street dude, man, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. That shit sound
Nah,
good.
you might have been born into a you might have been born into a family where everybody was street dudes, but that doesn't mean that you had to be a street dude. That
Exactly,
just
Josh.
means
You taught to be a racist. Nobody's born to
that's
be a racist. You taught to be a
right.
racist.
Like you might have grew up in a family where everybody was street dudes. But that doesn't mean that you had to be a street dude. That just means they chose to teach you how to be a street dude. Cause I know dudes where their family is a bunch of street dudes, but their parents like, nah, we not having this for you. This is what we do. But
Yeah.
you ain't going down this road. Now, sometimes that doesn't always play out the way the parents want it because
Um,
they a lot of times the kids go by what they see. But at the same token, the parents never chose to make the streets for the kids. The kids chose the streets.
yeah. I forgot what rapper I was listening to one day when he said, yeah, because my family grew up this and grew up that, and the problem was with me that I couldn't go down that road because they wasn't going to let that happen for me. They said somebody had to break the cycle, and I had a lot of talent, sports and rapping, but I decided to go the rap route, and they wasn't going to let me. They wasn't going to let me be a street dude. And even though a lot of my cousins and uncles was that, they wasn't going to let me be that. So I had to take the rap route because had I would have tried to take the street route, it would have been a problem. They wasn't going to let me do it. You know what I mean? And once
Right.
again, he could, you know what I mean? And that was the good family because they could have easily been like, a rapper? Nah, man, you ain't going to be no rapper. You going to stay here in the hood and you going to get this fast money. And we going to be, you know what I mean? We going to continue to have this go on and teach our kids how to do it. My dad was a street dude from the city of Louisiana. He would kill me if, well, I couldn't be it. And I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna tell you like this, Josh. I mentioned it yesterday, and I mentioned it time and time again. I was never a street dude. I was just a dude in the streets. I was around a lot of street shit, but I wasn't no gangster.
Yeah.
I was
Like
around
my
gangster shit. I was around gangster shit only because of the people I was around, and the life that I choose to live. When I first got down with being down with a gang, I just got down with a gang. To be honest with you, I didn't have a valid reason for being in the gang. I just wanted to roll with my homies, and we were loyal to each other. We all fought together, but I wasn't no street dude. I wasn't out here busting my guns. We wasn't out here stabbing and shooting people. We were just a bunch of young kids who, even though we was in the gang, we wanted to run around and we wanted to get girls' numbers. We was going to different boroughs, and we wasn't looking to start fights. But if you came to us wanting to fight, then we did what we had to do. But other than that, man, no, we wasn't. We wasn't really on that type of timing with people. And that's why a lot of us are able to sit here and talk about it, where we have other friends who are either in prison for their actions or they're in the cemetery. You don't understand what I'm saying? It's like yesterday, I walked into the bodega on my block and um I told one of the dudes in the bodega, we was talking about it. We was like, yo, listen, man, you know what gangster is? Gangster's taking care of your people. For all you young kids out there that just think that gangster is all about rolling with your homies and your homies peer pressuring you to do stuff and you falling for it, that's not gangster. Gangster is having a mind of your own, saying what you're not gonna do. Because at the end of the day, when you get caught up in something and you're going to jail or you're in court, ain't none of your homies gonna be in court. Whoever your guardian is gonna be the one right there to hold you down. But gangster is taking care of your community, your household. If you know your mother is struggling and she's a single mother, your father's either not there or he's in prison. You know what's gangster? You doing what you're supposed to do for your mother. You going to school. You doing your chores. You understand what I'm saying? That's what's gangster, man. Gangster is not going around harming people and
hey,
doing
I'm
things
gonna
that you're
tell
not supposed to do.
I'm gonna tell
So
you, what's gangster in my book. When you can stand up to all of the street dudes and say, "Nah, I'm not
yes,
doing that because
yes.
y'all doing that. Y'all not gonna force me to do that. Nah, we gonna fight every day until y'all get in y'all head that nah, I'm not doing that." They were like, "Man, let's leave him alone. He ain't trying to do it. Fine, he ain't trying to do it."
Gangster is putting your
That's a gangster because most people they will crumble under those circumstances. They be like, "Oh, I'm not trying to fight all these dudes," but when you stand up and you fight all those dudes every day to prove that you're not doing that, that's gangster. You're like, shoot, this dude he fought his way from a gang. They said they were gonna put him in a gang. That man said, "No, I'm not doing it," and
yeah.
he fought them every
Um,
day.
I think what we do on here every day as content creators, YouTubers, bloggers, whatever you want to call it, what we do, just us in particular, is gangster because we could easily be out there doing something we ain't got no business doing. You know what I'm saying? And to have these type of conversations is very important because a lot of you kids are getting it twisted. That's why they look at me the way they do. You dig? Yeah, yeah. You understand? So kids don't get it twisted. That's gangster. If you got a grandmother that's been your guardian and she's been holding you down, you know how you repay grandma, you know how you thank her. You know, you show your appreciation by doing what you got to do, not only at school, but at home. Don't worry, grandma. Don't worry, moms. Don't have them where they got to come down to the precinct. They got to come pick you up. They got to go to court. It's nothing cool. BBO, I seen that. I'm gonna be there tonight to hold you down. That's gangster, man. Go to school. Do what you're supposed to do. Because believe me, every man that you see on this panel and channel, we all have made it to the age that we have made it to because we all have been through something, rather if it was right or wrong, but we made it through.
Yeah,
So rather
a
if you
lot
in
of
your 30s, your 40s and 50s, but let me tell you something. There's situations I could have been in where I could have been knocked off this earth because I placed myself somewhere where I shouldn't have been, but I'm here to tell the story. Unfortunately, a lot of my friends are not here to tell the story. I just told this story a couple times, and my friend was just in here the other day when we talked about a friend that I lost back in 2003 who was murdered. 19 years old, and me and him had been friends since the 90s. But because he was involved in something that got his life taken, and I said, "Damn, man, we should be here together, reminiscing about when we were working at McDonald's together when we was teenagers." And when I seen the documentary that they had on him on YouTube the other day, it just took me to a different place where I was just like, I got teary eyed. You know what I'm saying? But when we do this free, they think that we preaching, right? But once upon a time, free, we were kids too, and somebody tried to get in our ear, and we didn't want to hear the shit. We didn't want to hear it. Man, look, OG, you hating. Get about my face. I'm not trying to hear that. Let me smoke my blunt and be in peace. I don't want to hear that shit. But look how far we have come. A lot of us are fathers. A lot of us are grandfathers. And when you think about it, free, what's it been? Free 3 years, free, maybe 4 years since I've been rapping with you, OG, a lot of y'all. And when I look at it, I go, it's a blessing. And if these kids want to be able to do the same thing 10, 15, 20 years from now, you got to stand up. I love listening to the OGs that was here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to stand up. Yes, school is not going to always be fun. Yes, you always going to have them teachers, one or two teachers who get on your fucking nerve. You're going to have a principal. You're going to have a sister, whatever. Everybody has to play their part, free. Not just the kids, but the schools, the parents. Rather, if you're a single parent, with two jobs, at some point, everybody, to make it work free, everybody's going to have to play their part. Because I think even some parents get so caught up in working where they just be like, I don't have time. And that's why if I come up to that school and they tell me this to tell me that, I'm gonna whoop your ass. But I'm like, wait a minute, before you say that to me, you don't even know if they gonna tell you something good. You just know you don't want to come to the school. So if they ain't telling you something that's valid or worth you taking off of work, now you want to whoop my ass. So if they tell you that I'm getting good grades in school, well, they could have told me that over the phone. Well, I didn't need to get off of I didn't need to get off of work to come to. Sometime they want to see if you just gonna come to the school because you got a lot of parents. They're W. Nah, I'll come up there when I have time. It's like, well, you said that the last time. When is your time going? When is the time going to be the time for you to come? Like, you got to know what's going on with your child.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm the type. I'm like my mother and my father, where they're like, if we get a phone call, we coming up to that daggone school, and you getting your ass whooped. And I would get an ass whooped just for the phone call. And then if they find out that it wasn't nothing that I did that was terribly wrong, then that teacher and parent had to deal with. I mean, that teacher had to deal with my parents because they just got finished whooping my ass and I ain't do nothing wrong. But my father and my mother was like, we shouldn't have got the phone call anyway. You know better.
Yeah.
So I'm from that era of teaching. I better not get no phone call. If I do, you're gonna get an ass whoop. But what if I didn't do nothing wrong? Well,
Yeah.
you're gonna get an
Yeah.
ass whoop anyway because I got the phone call. And then if I find out that you ain't do nothing wrong, then your teacher got to worry about me.
So I had this girl I went to school with, man. Her name was Tanisha, man. And I remember teacher had called her mother to come in. And we never knew her mother was coming in though. This is where keeping it real go wrong. Because she's Tanisha steady running her mouth off to the teacher saying whatever, da 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 da. She don't even know her mother's in the building. Hey, yo, free, we sitting there, right? And we like, yo, chill, cause she gonna call moms. You know, mom's gotta come in, it's gonna be a problem. Or when you get home, she gonna smoke you. That's what we thinking, right? We not thinking she gonna pop up to the school. We not really thinking that at this time. Cause her mother had a
Right.
good job. Her mother worked in the hospital. You know, you work in the hospital, you working anywhere from 16 to 18 hours. So it's a
Right.
lot. Her mother came, so you know how you get that knock on the door?
Yep.
And you know, the kids in school, you know, they nosy, so they leaning over the desk looking, yo, Tanisha, your mom's is at the door. Open the door, her mom's walks like halfway in the class. So she was like, so the teacher sees her, looks back at her and make this almost like a smirk, like, yeah, it's on. So the way her mom's walked in, we already knew it's ass whipping time. So, you know, we see her, right? And we like, hi, Miss Such and Such. And she's speaking to us. And she was like, she sees her. Here, come on out here. Come on, we're gonna go talk.
Yeah.
And when she came out, um, the teacher was getting ready to come in the hallway with them. She said, no, 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 no. We and you already talked over the phone. Stay here. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Man, she came in that hallway and tore her ass up. When I mean she beat her free, had social services been in the building, it could have got ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like when I mean
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you.
she bounced her up and down. And mind you, we had lockers in the school. She bounced that girl up and down every locker in that school. And I'm like, God damn, this lady going to jail for child abuse. It was just crazy.
Uh,
I'll never forget
I'm
that
gonna tell
day.
you. I'm gonna tell you one time. One time, I popped up on my son, my youngest son. I popped up at his school because I lived across the street from the school that he went to. So the teacher called me and was like, "Hey, look," she said, "I love Jaden. Jaden is an excellent student, but he just laugh and talk too much. Like my son, he has that laugh like I got. When he starts laughing, it's hard for him to stop. So I popped up
Yeah.
in his school, and the guidance counselor. I mean, the lady in the main office. She was like, "You want me to let them know?" I said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm popping up on my son." Oh, they said, "Oh yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. I wish we had more parents to do that." So she gave me the pass and she told me where his room was. So I go up and I'm looking in the classroom. The door was open, but I'm standing. My son had his back to me. So I'm standing there. The teacher saw me and she looked at me. I waved my finger. I was like, My son steady going. He's sitting there laughing and joking. And everybody, they wasn't paying attention to me at first. They was paying attention to my son. And then they saw me. They're like, "Who's that?" And my son turned around and saw my face. This man went from laughing to about to break out in tears. That man's face looked like he saw a ghost. And so I said to the teacher, I said, "Excuse me 1 second." I said, "Come here." So he came out, the teacher walked him out and closed the door. She said, "Go ahead, talk to him as long as you need to." She closed the door. I was sitting there talking to him. I said, "If I ever catch you doing that again in school, you ain't got to worry about waiting till you get home. I'm going to whoop your ass right there in that damn class." I said, "But I'm going to handle you when I get home." So he went back to the class. And so he came home from school. I said, "So do I got to show up at your school ever again?" He said, "No, please don't show up at my school." I said, "Yeah, because you got embarrassed." He said, "Nah, not so much got embarrassed." He said, "But all of my daggone friends was like, 'Man, your father fine.'" He said, "Don't ever show up to my school again."
No, no, no.
He didn't even care about the fact that he got in trouble. He was mad that the girls that he like me. I'm like, "Man, he might pay attention to them little ass girls."
No,
He like,
come
"No,
on.
don't ever show up to my damn school
Yeah,
no
well,
more."
Free, what I mean, what you do? You went in there on your Chico Suave shit?
No, I had just came from where did I just come from? I think I just came from the gym because we had a gym in my neighborhood. I had just came from the gym, so I was in sweatpants and a tank top because I had just got the phone call
Oh,
when
come
I
on,
walked in the
Free.
door.
Why would you do that,
And
Free?
so when I like I said, I just walked in the door. When I got the phone call, I like, "Bet I'm just gonna run across the street." I like, "Ain't no need for me getting settled in the house. I just got the phone call. Let me run across the street real quick." So I ran across the street. So he was like, he said, "I didn't get embarrassed." He said, "I wasn't embarrassed." He said, "Man," they was like, "Man, your father fine as a." He's like, "Don't ever come to my school again." I said, "You don't ever ask. You ain't got to worry about me coming to your school."
Damn, Free. He wasn't even tripping on why you came. It's like,
Right,
yo,
no, no,
don't come to my school no more. Don't come to my
that's the
school
same
no
thing.
more.
That's the same thing that happened when I took him to Bowie State because he went to Bowie State, and so they have that orientation. So they wanted
Yeah.
the parents to come and they were going to show the kids around, show the parents around the campus. So we walking through the campus, and everybody sitting there as they're like, "Oh, you got your older brother with you? Is your brother going to join the school?" He like, "Man, that's not my brother. That's my father." They're like, "Damn, your father look good to be his age." He was like, "Dad, go back to the car. Go back to the car."
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" Because I didn't hear this. This is what they saying behind me. I'm walking around looking at the campus and everything. So I didn't hear it. So he told me, I started laughing. He was like, "Nah, go back to the car. I ain't playing. Go back to the car." I said, "Man, come on." I said, "You already know everybody think you look just like me, so come on." He like, "Man, this some bull." He said, "I gotta sit here and the girls that I like, they like you." I said, "Well, I ain't dealing with them. I'm married." He like, "Yeah, but I gotta hear them ask me about you every damn day." I'm like, "Oh well." I said, "Well, I'm gonna go to a couple of classes, then I'm gonna go back to the car. I'm gonna let you finish it by yourself." He like, "I bet." he was.
Yeah. I've been like, yo, don't come up here no more. Don't come to visit me. Don't come this way. I'm good. I'm good. If it's not a 911 emergency, don't come up this way, man. I'm good because you messing me up right now. I'm out here trying to the shit that I want to holler at you. That's crazy.
He was
Crazy.
he was mad as shit. I was in there dying because I
I'd
didn't
have
know
been
nothing
mad
about it.
too.
And the thing about it was I wasn't I wasn't ready to go to the joint, and so when the little the person that takes you on a tour, and
Yeah,
they walked up to the car. They were like, Jaden Freeman. I was like, yeah, that's him right here. They were like, all right, yeah, we ready to do the tour. And so they were like, you the father? I was like, yeah. He said, oh, well, yeah, you can come too. This is for both of y'all. I was like, all right, bet. So I wasn't expecting to go. I was just expecting to sit in the car and wait for him to do his little tour and come back. So they were like, no, this is for both of y'all. You come on too. So I got out the car, like, all right, bet. And I'm walking around, not knowing nothing. And my son was pissed. He like, man, don't ever come back up here again.
yeah. Hey, listen, it be like that, man. It be like it's like that sometimes. But hey, what can you do? But yeah, it's um, it's just crazy when I sit and think about it. How times are so different um from what it is today, and I have a lot of people who go, man, I don't want no kids, man. I can't, because how the system is set up today, it seemed like it was much simpler to have kids back then than what it is today. And I tell a lot of people, I say, yeah, times are definitely have changed. We're in a whole different type of timing.
Yeah,
Um,
times are definitely different now than it is back then. Um, like back then, times was a lot simpler. Like people didn't want their parents to come to school. Nigga, I was proud for my parents to come to school because niggas didn't want their parents to come to school because their parents wasn't dressed right. My parents always stayed fresh. Like niggas would be like, man, that's your mother. I was like, yeah. They was like, man, your mother. I said, you said that's your mother. I swear to God, I'm gonna lay you out right here. Just please say it. Please say it. They were like, nah, I ain't fucking with you, D. I ain't fucking with you, D. Because niggas used to always say that. I said, they were like, man, your mother look just like Claire Huxtable. I said, yeah, she do. I hear that a lot. She do look like Claire Huxtable. I'm like, yeah, she is. I said, you say the F word, I swear to God, I'm going to lay your ass out right here. I said, you ain't even got
yeah,
to worry about waiting till after school. We going to fight right here, right now.
yeah, gotta be careful with that. Gotta be careful. But yeah, I think it happened to a lot of us where we had parents, and if the mother wasn't attractive, the father was, and people be like, "Yo, your father's bad." I mean, I have gotten that plenty of times with with my pops. Especially he drove the city bus, so some of them would get on the bus, and I used to be like, "Here we go with this bullshit. Here we go. Y'all think y'all just about to ride the bus all day today, don't y'all? I don't think so. Just so y'all can sit and watch him. Y'all don't get y'all narrow asses off the bus." But I mean, that's how it is, man. It be like that sometimes. But yeah, man, I was just sitting here thinking the other day, man. I was like, damn, man, it's back to school shit for me, man. It used to be popping. It was something to look forward to. Um, yeah, I had fun. Like I said, it was the time to go back and see all your homies, to see that girl that you liked, to see that teacher that you had a crush on, because everybody had a teacher that they had a crush on. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, but now it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of watered down, man. Everybody's just like, these kids today's like, oh yeah, it's back to school. Who cares? I ain't gonna do nothing but see the same teachers. I'm not gonna go, so I really don't care about back to school. I might go for the few days to make it look like I'm doing something, but after that, man, I don't care nothing about it. And it's crazy because a lot of times stuff happened and they not in school. We don't know. Me, I always played the safe way. By when I didn't go, I try not to go places where I would put myself in harm when I wasn't in school. And that didn't make it right for me not to be in there, but that was just me. I just put myself in places and spaces where I was just like, yeah, man, if I get caught here, this is what can happen. But I always managed to
Yeah.
stay away, and this is why we alive today to be able to talk about it. And we just want these kids to understand that you know what I mean. You gotta stand up to your own. You gotta be your own person. That's what makes you a young adult. That's what makes the situation gangster. When you can say, I'm not going here, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not gonna be peer pressured. And if you're going to try to peer pressure me to do something, then we might as well go ahead and fight now.
Right.
We might as well just go ahead and get it in. Because, you know, people will do that when they think that you if they think that you're weak minded, or if they think you owe them a favor because they did something for you. Okay, this is what you got to do. And that's when you have to bring them back down to reality and go, I don't have to do shit. I don't have to do
Right.
nothing. Only person that can get to tell me to do something is my guardian. I don't have to do nothing. And this is what these kids got to understand. And you know, for a lot of them, they're misguided and misunderstood, and they don't get it. You know, this year, through probably, I can't speak for the whole United States, but I can speak for New York and say, especially the Bronx, that there were so many youngins that lost their life before they could even get a chance to go back to school. Now you have, like I said, you got that one parent that's got to walk in the room knowing that their child is never going to be in that room again because they were brutally murdered. Rather if they were gang related or neutral or whatever the case may be, and that's scary. This is why it's important. No matter if we're working two jobs, no matter if we're single parents or whatever the case may be, we got to tune in. We got to get in tune to what's going on with them. Because you know sometimes kids be places free, and you be like, well, you know, I work, I do this and do that. I just thought that he might have been at such and such house. I didn't know that's what he was going over there doing. I never knew he was a blood. I didn't know he was a Crip. I didn't know that. But when the last time you checked up on him? What you mean? I live with him. Okay, but what that mean? Did you know what he had going on? You know, so it's important that we stay in tune with them. You can't follow them wherever they go all the time. You can't babysit them. But it's important because you know just as well as anybody else, and y'all all know, none of us ever want to have to get that phone call. And we all know what that phone call is. We don't want that because once we get that phone call, you can scream, "Oh God," all you want to, and please don't let this be true. Don't let this be it. But it is what it is. So at some point, everybody has to play their part. Everybody has to play their part. Single parent or no single parent, everybody's going to have to get tuned in to what's going on. Yeah, so y'all, thanks y'all for joining me with the morning chop ups. Y'all got to continue to, you know, to join me more, man, because these morning chop ups are always important. It always helps. Of course, this afternoon I'll be back. Boxing talk. Eric Salubin versus Virgil Ortiz. This Wednesday, I can't say I'll be live, but Wednesday I'll be in Brooklyn for a community event. Shout out to Queen's Flip. He's going to be giving out jerk chicken and all that. It's going to be something for community. Kids is going to come out. Everybody's going to be out. Just like the event I was at this past week, due to all the music, it ain't too much I could catch on YouTube, but I'll try to do my best and catch whatever it is that I can catch. If it's not on YouTube, it's on Instagram. I'm going to try to get some on YouTube, though, as much as I can. But join me, and that will be from 1 to 7. But I won't be there from 1 to 7. I'll probably be there a cool 2 hours before I actually get up out of there. So make sure y'all all look out for that. And look out for this week. It's a lot of things. You know, I'm busy. Y'all see, I'm staying on top of it, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. Want to thank my brother Free. Want to thank my brother Jeff Spark, Coco Tina, Josh Sanders, BC, Crush the Legend, my man John, and everybody else that's continuing to support the channel. 642 subscribers. Let's get it to 650. More important, let's get it to 700. Let's do that. Let's smash the like button. You know what I mean? And just continue to support, man. Love y'all. I'll see y'all later on this afternoon at 5 p.m. Boxing Talk. Y'all know what it is. It's the No Duck Zone podcast. Let's go.